Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. This is the Zen God, and I'm excited to have this session today. We're going to keep it short to two topics today, Hedera Hashgraph, and I'm going to actually switch it up a little bit today. Well, I've been switching it up, it seems. So I'm actually going to say one stock that I'm bullish on. So I'm going to share one stock that I'm bullish on. It is Palantir. So for the second half of this video, I'll be talking a little bit about Palantir, and I think it's a great investment as well, just like the cryptocurrencies. But today I found a great Twitter account, so you guys should follow DJ Bitcoin on Twitter. He has great content about HBAR, and pretty much everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to come from his account. So in quantum theory, let's read this. So the reduced Max Planck constant, H, the same logo as HBAR, known as the HBAR, plays a fundamental role in quantum mathematics. He goes, coincidence? Nah. Dr. Lehman Baird, he is the founder of HBAR, is a genius. Quantum ready. So we know the future coins that are going to survive, they have to have quantum capabilities. They have to be able to work at the quantum level. So this is Planck's constant. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. H is a fundamental constant playing a fundamental role in the quantum theory. It defines the quantum of energy, the minimum quantity of energy which can be exchanged. Represents the connection between the wavelength and the momentum of particles, wave-particle duality. It defines a scale at which the natural phenomena becomes quantistic. A classical behavior disappears. Wow. So that's some next level stuff. It kind of goes over my head, but it just shows the level of technology that HBAR is. Let's start off with the price. So the reason I'm talking about it today is it's a hot topic. It went all the way up to 26 cents. It was just 14 cents a few days ago. Now it popped up. And a lot of people are even saying, let me find this article. There are some people saying, look, so there's a blog on Coinbase, digital assets under review. Today we're announcing that we are exploring the addition of a range of new assets. As part of the exploratory access, customers may see public-facing APIs and other signs that we are conducting engineering work to potentially support these assets. Hedera Hashgraph is one of them. So is Theta. Theta is doing unbelievable. So is RR, Reserve Rights. I heard that's a good one. Ocean Protocol. But it makes sense that Hedera Hashgraph should be on Coinbase. It seems like a Coinbase quality coin with all the partners they have. Our decision to support any asset requires significant technical and compliance review and may be subject to regulatory approval in some jurisdictions. We therefore cannot guarantee whether or when any above listed asset will be listed on Coinbase product in any jurisdiction. So all these have to go through some testing. The HBAR is on the radar. So it is a hot topic. The price shows that. People say this could be a top 10 coin. I believe it. I mean, it's quantum technology. It's also, let's just review, go back to the basics. They have been chosen by the World Economic Forum. Hedera is a decentralized enterprise-grade public network on which anyone can build secure, fair applications with near real-time finality. The program is owned and governed by a council of the world's leading organizations, including Avery Dennison, Boeing builds like all the big planes, Dentons, Deutsche Telekom, DLA, Piper, WorldPay, Google, IBM, LG, Electronics, University College of London. We know that they're also doing the shots, so all the CV, the shots. They're monitoring it all on the Hedera Hashgraph. So lots of real world applications, and they seem to be partnered with the best, the World Economic Forum. Google, all these big, huge companies are backing it. That's why it's a hot topic. So I guess, I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but this is pretty cool. Tai Lopez is pretty smart about cryptocurrencies, and he liked this tweet. Imagine thinking Tai Lopez doesn't know about HBAR. He liked it. So Tai Lopez definitely is a holder of HBAR, in my opinion. So this is a really good thread. We'll watch some of these videos. This is the founder of Hedera Hashgraph. So one of the things that I've heard, because it's so fast, because it can scale so high, and because it's so cheap, I'm thinking a lot of developers are going to choose HBAR over others. And then when I watched this video today, it verified it. So imagine thinking dApp developers don't love Hashgraph. Let's watch this video. You'll see how many people are already using Hashgraph right now.
The real action is on the decentralized application developer. These are the ones that are looking for a safe harbor because they just want to build new kinds of apps and then have a reliable set of infrastructure, kind of like cloud computing had DevOps movement. This is what's going on in this world. What's your answer to that? What's your pitch to those folks saying, hey, developers, Hashgraph is for you? What's your answer?
Yes. And by the way, this is not just to new developers. We've got 20,000, I think, now on our Telegram channel. We have amazing response from our developer community. We have a whole team that is working with them to develop really interesting things. That we have demonstrations and so on. So my pitch to them is thank you, because we have them. In addition, since we can run Solidity out of the box, all those developers have already been developing on us for years without knowing it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And for others, there's no limit to what you can do when you have speed and security at the same time.
Come on, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no, what? That's a rough rider's road.
Yeah, so you just heard him say there's no limit to what you could do with speed and security. So from innovative startups to global enterprises, these are just a few of the developers, entrepreneurs, and companies decentralizing the future on Hedera. So we just heard about some of these. And man, this is like, watch. So this is the use cases. You go to use cases if you want to look up yourself. And yeah, click use cases. And then look, this is all the stuff that's on it. I have to like scroll fast just to show you guys. But so I'll give you a few examples. The Chopra Foundation, democratizing wellness resources. The Chopra Foundation is partnering with Hedera Hashgraph to create a decentralized platform, democratizing access to trusted resources, supporting mental and emotional wellness worldwide. So that's one example. Their decentralized identity management, Australian payment systems, asset monitoring provider. This is who they're partnered up with the CV shot, how they're monitoring it. Everywhere delivers real-time intelligence, anomaly detection, and decision-making for critical assets globally. So the VACCINES, I call it shots, is a pretty critical, like we can't have people tampering with those. So you have, they're monitoring it on the Hedera Hashgraph, providing organizations with instant visibility, accountability, accessible from anywhere. Crisis prevention solutions. The Hala Systems developers solutions for civilian and asset protection, accountability, and the prevention of violence before, during, and after conflict. So there's so many different use cases that are building on Hedera Hashgraph. And I'm sure it's only been out, it's a pretty new coin. I'm sure so many more coins will switch over to Hedera's platform. So you guys can look this up on on the website. Let's go back to this thread. Let me pick out another good one. Oh, here's a good one. This is kind of like the same thing that we've been saying, how in technology, the first is never usually the best. Millions of examples, how usually a new technology comes out and then another person looks at it, finds the flaws, and makes a better one. And this is basically what Lehman, Dr. Baird, is saying. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly.
always room for more than one player, right? You know, so when Ethereum came along, it didn't kill Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing pretty well. So, you know, maybe room for multiple people. I don't know. Typically, the history of any kind of market is that you have this enormous springing up of thousands and thousands of companies, and then you have a crash, and then you get down to 3 or 4, whatever, big companies that continue on there. And that's the way every revolution tends to happen. I'm sure we'll see the same pattern here.
I mean, I agree. I agree with that statement. I agree. He also has a smart idea. Like he's a smart guy. Let's watch this one too. I'm just gonna go through and show you guys all these clips.
And you never want to have, I have about 1 million ideas for business models. As a startup, that's a very bad idea. What you want to do is start by saying, I'm going to build a search engine, and then eventually you become Alphabet. But you don't start as Alphabet. I guarantee you that our goal is to start with a search engine, but to end up being Alphabet. It's the motherfucking... Well, this is not a proof of work system where you have to have a supercomputer and use more electricity than the nation of Ireland to run the thing. It's the mother...
Okay, yeah, those are just some funny short clips, just getting a step inside his mind. There's a video right here, him talking about major security risk on proof of work systems. So there's just so many great videos on this guy's page. See if I can find one more. Really smart guy. Wait, I can't find. Oh, here it is.
If you have 1,000 computers running or 1 million computers running in your DLT network, and a botnet is big enough to shut them all down, then you're out of luck. Your network gets shut down. If they can shut down half of your nodes, you're probably out of luck. But if they can just shut down one node and shut down your whole network, that's a problem. That's a flaw in your network. So yeah, if they shut down your whole network, you're going to be out of luck, but that's not a flaw in your network. That's just life. But if they can shut down one at a time, that's bad. We've got to not have that. And a lot of systems have that problem.
So yeah, we've seen the same with Algorand, the professor at MIT, pointing out a lot of the flaws in the proof of work systems. And same thing with this doctor, he comes along and he sees all the flaws in the proof of work system and finds out how he could do it better. Hey, we don't need a blockchain. We could do a hash graph system that's faster, has security, has everything, quantum ability, and make something better. And ultimately, the people are going to choose what's best, what's easiest, what's more efficient. For a while, it might have been romantic to keep your Razr smartphone or having a flip phone. It might have been romantic to keep a flip phone, but eventually people switch up to the better technology and move on with the better things in life. So that's my take on technology. That's what we're doing. Okay, before we switch the topic, there's so much. If you want more Hedera Hashgraph videos from me, let me know. Some people definitely want more XRP content from me. I will be posting a lot more XRP content soon. But for me, I'm so confident in XRP. I'm so settled in and cozy with my XRP investment. I don't have to watch another XRP video again in my life. I don't have to research it again. I'm just waiting patiently for it to happen, the bamboo to sprout. So that's kind of why I haven't made a deep XRP video in a week, because I'm just totally confident in it. I have 100% belief in it. I'm certain. And so now I'm like, let me look into this, let me look into that, and see if there's anything else out there that I could find and be just as confident in as XRP. So HBAR is one of those, and I've been involved with HBAR for a long time now. But because of what's happening, it's more fun to share this content. So I already showed you guys this. So I did get my side topic. If you guys watch the Health is Wealth series, some people want me to stick just to crypto. Other people like the diverse content. So if you don't like the other content, my suggestion is keep it really simple, guys. If you see a video that says health is wealth, it's probably not going to be about cryptocurrency. So just don't click it. If you don't want to know about health, just don't click that video. Fair? Is that a deal? And then if you see another video that has XRP in the title and that's what you want to watch, click that. There's a million XRP videos on YouTube. I'm going to put my spin on it how I want to and put my own flavor to this. So I am going to do my fast. I got all this cool glass water from Mountain Valley, some spring water from the mountains. But I got my gold standard. I buy high quality stuff. So I get the best quality digital asset, which is the gold standard XRP, the global bridge currency, the future gold standard. But I also get liquid gold, and I put it in my water so I can get all the minerals so I can stay healthy and super fresh. So I'm going to do a fast with just this mineral water for 2 days. And I'm going to see how much it affects me. I'm going to go all in. Okay, so I didn't know this. I'm super upset, but I guess Palantir, they've been around for a long time. They IPO'd like 6 months ago. So they finally released a stock that you could actually purchase. And it went IPO'd for about like $9. I paid like around $8 it started off. I would have bought so much if I knew, but I didn't know. I don't really pay attention to the stock market. You guys know me. So I'm more of a precious metals, crypto. I own a few stocks, but very few. But I found out they went live, and I was like, holy crap. And it caused me to dive into it and look into it. Peter Thiel is like a super entrepreneur, and he was one of the founders. Peter Thiel is a rabbit hole in its own. If you guys want a rabbit hole of Peter Thiel, let me know. But that guy he could be one of he's above Elon Musk in his power. So Elon Musk like answers to Peter Thiel, in my opinion. And Peter Thiel is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. You'll see Peter Thiel mark on a lot of stuff because Palantir is named off of Lord of the Rings, the Looking Glass in Lord of the Rings, and a bunch of other things and Peter Thiel was an early investor in Ripple, OpenCoin. Peter Thiel also created PayPal, which was also founded by Elon Musk. Yelp. Peter Thiel is behind so much of the biggest projects Peter Thiel is behind. And then World Economic Forum, I found out, backs Palantir. So Palantir Technologies is changing how leading institutions solve critical data challenges. Its critical platforms are deployed throughout the intelligence, defense, law enforcement, regulatory, and cybersecurity communities, the commercial sector, and philanthropic, organizations. It just goes on and on. Palantir is like basically bigger than just a normal business. Like governments, militaries, the Department of Defense call on Palantir for government contracts for huge things. Like they find terrorists with their cyber security stuff. I believe a lot of the reason why so many people involved in the human trafficking are getting arrested recently is because of Palantir. I think Palantir is behind that. It's the Looking Glass. And I mean, it's a huge company, and the government's behind it. So I think it's too big to fail. I think that it's beyond it's too big to fail. Like so many people are depending on it, so it's going to be around for a while. It's around $25 right now. None of this is financial advice. This is just something I'm researching. So don't do anything that I say. But yeah, and this guy, Alex Karp, the CEO, I've been watching him. He's a really smart guy. He's a really good leader of the company. You should listen to him. He has crazy cool hair too. First person I've seen do hair like this. Palantir. So look at this, like type in Palantir and look up Looking Glass on like police departments that use them. Palantir, Looking Glass, Palantir warns investors of. Yeah, look up Palantir Looking Glass on Twitter if you want a rabbit hole. So let's watch this video real quick. Him kind of explaining better than I can what Palantir is. And yeah, let's check this video out.
All I can find, financial statements, investor relations, everything I can find. That way I can present to you the most clear picture of what Palantir does and what their potential is in the future, and if this is a worthwhile investment. So we're going to cover a summary of what Palantir does and how they started, because it's a bit confusing what they do. I had to dig quite a bit to really understand what they do. We know there's a lot with data. I'm going to cover that. Then we're going to get into whether this is a good investment or not, and some interesting things I found in my discovery process. So starting off, data, just period. Our data is everywhere, and Palantir has built itself around data to help cut costs at businesses, prevent tax evasion, predict terror attacks, and a whole lot more, all things data. Some of their bigger clients include the CIA, BP, Airbus, 3M, and many more that we're going to discuss later. They build software allowing governments and businesses to analyze their own data and help those entities make better decisions, whether that decision is simply saving money on something in their supply chain or saving lives in some foreign country. Now, fun fact, the company's name came from the Lord of the Rings, where the magical Palantiri were seeing stones described as these indestructible balls of crystal used for communication and to see events in other parts of the world. So it's a pretty good name. The second fun fact, you can also use the link in my description for Webull to get 2 completely free stocks. All you have to do is deposit $100, 2 free stocks in your account. You can jump in on the stock market. It's a pretty darn good deal. Plus, you'll be helping out the channel while you're at it. Moving on from here. In the summary, Palantir was founded in 2003 by a group of fellas. First one is Peter Thiel, who is the co-founder of PayPal, an early investor in Facebook, and he's done tons of other things. Next, we have Nathan Gettings. Then we have Joe Lonsdale, who's an early employee at PayPal. He's a tech investor in many companies like Wish. Stephen Cohen, who's another co-founder. He's a data scientist who actually came up with Palantir's prototype in just 8 weeks. And then finally, we have Alex Karp, who is a longtime friend of Peter Thiel's, who has 2 doctorate degrees and serves as the current CEO. Now, the concept for Palantir really started back in the PayPal days, where they were losing $10 million per month in fraud. Then they built some systems that combine automated suspicious data flagging with human reviewers to successfully combat their rampant fraud issue. And I assume starting Palantir, they were sitting around thinking something like, hey, we just saved ourselves $10 million a month. I bet other companies would be willing to do the same thing. Not a bad idea. After starting Palantir, though, they struggled to find additional investors other than Peter Thiel until a CIA venture capital business, InQtel, gave them a shot and threw them $2 million to get things going. And that was just the beginning of deep governmental connections and deep governmental contracts that are proven to be pretty fruitful in present day. Eventually, Palantir started working with the CIA to help analyze data and identify terror attacks. My first thought is, as soon as I read this, that the US government is willing to spend boatloads on this. And it's also a good signal to other governments. If the US is trusting Palantir to do these things, Canada will probably see that and be like, well, we trust them too. Great Britain, we trust them too. So I think it could be a stepping stone to other governments. But moving on here, their first corporate customer was JP Morgan, where they helped that firm identify fraud. And to date, they have saved JP Morgan.
I was drinking tons of coffee. I was jittery, I was anxious, and I met more and more people.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, my thought here is, as a business owner myself, if I signed up with a service that is saving me X amount of dollars per month, I would be willing to pay a percentage of those savings every single year to keep those savings going. Let's say I could save $100,000 a year with some new service. I'd probably be willing to pay $30,000 a year to save that $100,000 a year. And this is basically what they're doing. Now, there have been concerns with Palantir's practices. I mean, they are dealing with mountains of data, including data from innocent people, unknowing people. There's always concerns when it comes to personal information. They've also have certain complaints from their clients who don't agree with their terms of service and how opaque their agreements are. They've also been criticized for having too much leverage in the bidding process for government contracts. A few things, just to parlay this into something interesting, a few things they've been credited for finding, though, include uncovering spyware on the Dalai Lama's computer, helping to find Osama bin Laden, and discovering Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme. Now, these may or may not be true, but they're rumors that are out there that they help with these things. It's argued that although Palantir has yet to earn a profit and their expenses are increasing every single year, there's some scary finances that we're going to cover in a little bit. That it's argued that Palantir is so important to organizations like the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, other three-letter organizations, that they simply can't fail because they're so pivotal to those organizations. However, I take that with a grain of salt because it's never safe to assume any investment has no risk. That's where you're going to get caught with your pants down. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I kind of get what they do, but not exactly. And you're not alone. I was in the exact same boat just a couple hours ago. So I found this presentation on one of Palantir's products. It's called Foundry, that explains a scenario where Palantir can benefit a company. So let me pull over this presentation just so we can get a better understanding of what exactly they do through this presentation. So let's take a listen here.
Take a manufacturing plant as a first example. To create a 360-degree view of the plant, we are joining massive amounts of data, like sensor data from plant operations, or logistics data from distribution centers, or financial data from ERP systems to create the plant object. As we continue to integrate data to support more and more use cases, our ontology continues to grow. We also link the plant to key entities like distribution centers, customers, and raw materials, which are backed by even more data sources. The result of this data integration and mapping work is immediate transparency into the business objects, that plant, for business users across the organization. As a supply chain manager, a logistics officer, or a plant operations manager, I can see all the data that has been integrated to develop that plant object. And for any single plant, I can quickly see the most relevant KPIs to understand customers and distribution centers by city, as well as any demand alerts and the demand in production over time.
So in summary there, for this scenario for a manufacturer, basically what they're saying they would do in that case is take all of their data points, whether that be input from employees, whether that be input from certain machines on a production line, input from inventories, and they put that all into one location. That way they can make smarter decisions. And something that was really interesting about this presentation is it suggests decisions that you could make based on the data collected, and then whatever decision you make goes back into the data, making all of this data more and more valuable over time. Now, what this immediately made me think is this is a situation where once someone becomes a customer, as long as they're using this service, they almost won't be able to ever not use Palantir, because this is going to become so pivotal to their organization that they'll simply need it. Now, I wanted to skip ahead here just to highlight this point for.
Palantir could stop the next 9/11, or has it already?
Something like Palantir is the key to stopping major terrorist attacks. I don't think we're going to do it by projecting military force throughout the world. I think we will do it by sort of very cleverly uncovering these conspiracies before they come together.
Some have expressed concern that your clients could actually use Palantir to do evil things. Do you worry about that?
There's always a two-edged part to these technologies. You know, technologies are never intrinsically good. There's always a question how they can be used or abused. I do think there are a lot of checks in place in Palantir.
Someone described it as it's kind of like plugging into the matrix.
One government agency that gave us a bunch of data, and during the demo, we discovered a terrorist plot that they had not even suspected existed, and it led them to conclude they had to reclassify all sorts of data as classified.
So would you say that Palantir has helped thwart multiple terrorist plots?
I suspect that's true.
We received a tip that these 10 bank accounts are receiving illegal or laundered cash flows. We see that all 10 accounts have similar names and were created at the same bank. They appear to belong to subsidiaries of a company named Sunset Systems. Using Palantir, we can investigate the nature of this money laundering scheme. If we search around for linked transaction events, we see that they are linked to 2 new accounts, Sunset Systems LLC and Twilight Technologies LLC. We can analyze each of these individual relationships separately, but to understand the big picture, we'll turn on the flows helper. As expected, we see that money is flowing from the 10 accounts that we started with to these 2 placement accounts. To test our hypothesis, we'll search around for linked entities, and we find that both accounts are registered to the same business address. If we search around for linked events, we see that they are linked to various other accounts in what appears to be a layering scheme. Using the histogram, we can separate these accounts by type, those receiving wire transfers or check transfers. We'll isolate the check transfers because we assume that these are the overhead costs associated with doing business. Check transfers can sometimes provide clues about what the company has been up to. It seems that these 4 are just utility companies, and because they're not suspicious, we can just remove them from the graph. The data remains within Palantir, and we can pull it back up at any time.
Palantir, we know, has attracted a lot of attention for the work it has done for the U.S. government, including the CIA and Department of Homeland Security. But the company, whose software allows customers to import and then analyze massive volumes of data, is building up a roster of corporate clients too, including Airbus, Merck, and BP. And now we can add one more to the roster. CEO Alex Karp talked to me about a previously unreported contract with Fiat Chrysler and how his software helps the car makers employees.
Well, it's preserving jobs because once the 1,500 employees are using the software, they're actually doing things that otherwise you'd need a PhD to do. And so you're making them as valuable as the PhD in software. And it scales across the enterprise. So they're more valuable than a single PhD in software.
There's a product that allows us to use a bunch of the information systems that we already have available, but kind of make sense of all the noise that's out there. For years, we've had stovepipe systems that have a lot of information, but don't talk to each other and don't compare that information. And Palantir allows us to do that. It's a really important tool for investigations. It's a really important tool for crime fighting.
What we liked about the Palantir solution is number one, they're problem solvers. So they get in there and no matter what the data, what kind of form it's in, they're going to integrate it in a way that it's usable.
Palantir brings in many databases into one system. Currently, Palantir brings in the following databases: crime and arrest report information, field interview cards, automatic license plate reader information, DMV information, rap sheets, and we are working with Palantir engineers to bring in more information.
Guys, I hope you guys are okay with a longer video because I actually just going down this rabbit hole along with you guys live. So boom, there you go. I told you. my intuition told me this is how they're finding the missing children. Palantir clients include CIA, NSA, FBI, CDC, USMC, USAF, isn't that the Marines? USMC, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I don't know what the Polaris Project is, but holy crap. So my speculation was right. Let's keep watching this. This is awesome.
I've had the rare opportunity to meet Trump, which I turned down. Like, I mean, this is off the record, but like, I don't respect, like, I respect nothing about the dude. Like, you could almost make up someone that I find, it'd be hard to make up someone I find less appealing. Trump, I don't know what's going to happen to him. Quite frankly, would like him to go away, but, you know, he may do very well because he's sitting up and saying, you know, no one's on your side, which may be true. It's all dysfunctional, which may be true, and it's going to get worse for your kids than for you. Walmart probably affects 50 million people in this country directly. I, for one, I told you about my dreams of persecution. Like a world where those 50 million people have no income, no products, no way to get income, essentially no job, because it's all been migrated to Amazon. That may be the evolution you're looking for. I kind of like my own survival because, you know, like being a multi-billionaire in that world where no one else has food, you don't survive. Like, I'm not going to survive. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be on the wall. These institutions are, if they can they won't survive unless they partner with something like us. Like, they won't. And if survive means both sides are surviving, creating revenue and doing something that betters the world. Like, you know, like data protection and finding terrorists, drilling for oil and having the thing not blow up.
Anyway, that's enough for that. So, yeah, it's insane. It seems like a lot of the press, there's a lot of bad press about Palantir. They try to convince us that Palantir is spying on you and we should all be afraid of Palantir. It's Big Brother. And I believe that. So, but then I thought, okay, well, if all the media wants us to believe that, there has to be a spin to it. So it seems like they had all the bad press come once Trump got into admitted his power, and they realized that this technology, because like Peter Thiel said in that video, it's a double edge. Oh no, this technology could be used against us now for money laundering, for fraud. It makes it so easy to find these criminals. So once the tables turned and Trump's administration got in and they found out Peter Thiel was buddy-buddy with Trump, it made them all scared. They started putting all this bad press about Palantir out there. And the CEO is a very bright guy. He plays the role as an anti-Trumper. Trust me, he is not. He has to play that position because Peter Thiel is so pro-Trump. He spoke at a lot of his rallies. He campaigned for him in 2016. So if one person in your company, you can't be all pro-Trump. You have to have you gotta play like being political in business. So like he plays that role. And I seen an interview with him up in the mountains at Davos, and they're all like, aren't you worried about gossip happening in the workplace with Peter Thiel supporting Trump? And don't you think that's going to cause issues in your workplace? And Alex, the guy that we just watched, said, absolutely not, because we hire people that could think. We hire critical thinkers where that won't be an issue. We'll respect people with individual ideas and viewpoints. And he totally shut down the reporter. And I did some research later on. I guess that Palantir is the hardest tech company to get a job with. So a lot of people in different programs could easily get jobs with Google, Microsoft, these other big established tech companies. Palantir is very selective, and they do like all this psychological stuff to see if you're a right fit for their company. So they're definitely going to be around. They're doing some revolutionary things. This was a really deep dive on them. There's so much more we could get into, but this is a stock. It's not a crypto, so this is something new. So if you want to add a stock, this is something that's more of a long-term hold. So it's something that could be 5 years from now. It could really blossom into something big. So the way that I'm playing this position, I'm just slowly dollar cost averaging into it. I'm not going all in on it right now. I'm just slowly dollar cost averaging my position because this is more of a long-term hold. It's not going to be overnight like the cryptos. So this is what I'm doing. I think it's a fun new company that you guys should look into. But anyways, Roundtable will be released on Sunday, as always. And if you've been enjoying these videos, please subscribe. Always give me a thumbs up and continue supporting. All right, guys, have a great night.